Okay, welcome back to the series where I read a child's book but do not have a child's mouth. You know, blah blah blah. Anyway. And sorry, yesterday I once again felt sick. I don't know why it keeps happening. But yeah, I need to watch this anyways, so. There will be a couple of instances where I have to wipe the side of my mouth because lately it has been just, But okay. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I've been trying to stay hydrated. Oh my god. Okay. So, I got my bangs pulled back, so now I can see. And hopefully this headband of mine keeps my glasses in place, because I've been having problems with my glasses just... And then I can't see. Oh my god, 1 sec. Sorry, allergies have been kicking my ass. Anyway, so now that I've been talking for over a minute, let's get into Chapter 4. Chapter 4, Libby and the Class Election. Libby hurried back to the Little Dipper dorm alone. Oh my god! She had her one free afternoon each week on Luna Day, and she usually waited for Gemma to finish whatever conversation she was having after class, so that the two could head back together, but not that day. She pushed open the door and stepped onto the cosmic transporter, which deposited her right in front of room 333. She placed her palm on the hand scanner in the middle of the door. Her handprint was accepted, and the door slid open. "Welcome, Libby," the bot voice said. Entering the bedroom, Libby noticed that the flowers smelled twice as strong as they did that morning. She placed her stars app on her dresser and walked right over to them. It was as if they were beckoning to her. She sniffed deeply. Ah, they were just so irresistible. She shook her head. Gemma and Scarlet were so wrong. They smelled just like blush bells. No doubt about it. Libby walked over to her side of the room and knelt next to her bed, the pink rug soft and fluffy under her knees. She fished around under her bed for a bit, pushed aside the unopened case of glimmer chips, then found what she was looking for. She hooked her fingers around the handle and pulled out a bright pink case. She stared at it for a brief moment and undid the clasps and lifted the lid. Ugh. The door to the room whooshed open, startling Libby. "What's the deal? You left after class without me," Gemma said, pouting. Then she noticed the open case. "Hey, what's that?" she asked, walking over and dropping to her knees next to Libby. "I mean, I know it's an instrument of some sort, but what kind is it? It's bizarre." Libby bristled, running her hands over the keyboard. "I mean, I think I've played almost every instrument there is," Gemma continued, "but I've never seen this one before in my life." Why is my... Oh, wait, I was like, why is it wet? It's not, it's the bookmark. It's a keytar, Libby said. "A portable keyboard that you play like a guitar." She lifted it out of the case and hung it around her neck by the pink strap. "See?" "Oh," said Gemma. "So does that mean you're trying out for the band?" "Maybe," said Libby. "I can't make up my mind." "Well, I am," said Gemma. "I just have to figure out which instrument to bring. I play so many, you know." She walked over to her shelf and began studying her choices. Guitar, star fluty, star shakers, pluck along, clarinet. Better to play one well than many not so well, Libby thought. She blushed, immediately embarrassed by her unkind thought. My stars! What was getting into her these days? She carefully lifted the keytar from around her neck and placed it back in the case. Maybe she shouldn't try out. She wasn't feeling quite right, and it was entirely possible that she was coming down with something and could use some rest. "So, are you sure you want to try out with that keytar thing?" Gemma asked Libby. "It just seems kind of weird." She pointed to her shelf of instruments. "Maybe borrow one of mine instead." She had a funny look on her face, as if she was as if she was a bit surprised at the words that had come out of her mouth. Oh my god. Keytar, said Libby between gritted teeth. It's called a keytar, she repeated. Do what you like, Gemma said with a shrug. She stared at the jumble of instruments, considering them. Finally, she grabbed the pair of star shakers. See you, she said. See ya. Can you tell I'm from Texas? Jesus Christ. That was just the motivation. Ew! That was just the motivation Libby needed. She snapped the case closed, and after a brief pause to give Gemma a head start, headed to the Star Quad herself. Why are there so many red cars today? Libby's mood improved as she stepped outside. It was a pleasant, sunny, time of letting go afternoon with a slight breeze. Pretty sure that's fall in Starland. Oh my god, can you really just see my ass this entire time? Damn. I think that might be a little bit. Okay. And she was looking forward to sitting in the grass near the splashing fountain and playing music with her fellow star darlings. Plus, she could show Gemma just how amazing and versatile a keytar could be. Her roommate had no idea that the instrument could sound like an organ, an accordion, or an electric guitar. Libby stopped in her tracks as she approached the band shell. She had been expecting to see a couple of the star darlings, Leona, of course, Sage with her guitar, Vega and her bass, Gemma, maybe even Scarlet with her drum kit, and possibly one or two others. Okay, so the first five, which are like, Sage, Libby, Leona, Vega, and Scarlet, which have the first 5 books in the series, definitely have instruments. Oh my god, I can't even lean back anymore. Cassie maybe, but she's more of a bookworm. Piper's more into like Astra's more into sports, but she listens to her roommate. Tessa is more into cooking. Adora is more into science and fashion. Clover can play every instrument on Starland, but she prefers to stay out of the starlight, and Gemma obviously is going to be there, so I don't know about the 1 or 2 more star darlings thing, but hey, leave me alone. Damn, why is my hair so curly? Shit! Okay, anyway. Okay, let's try this. But there were literally dozens of Starling Academy students milling about in Star Quad, singing scales and toting guitars, violins, and other instruments. They couldn't possibly all be there to try out for Leona's band, could they? How could they had even found out about it? She spotted Orchid, a girl from her Intro to Wishful Thinking class, practicing her star flutie. Hey, Orchid, what's going on? Libby asked her. Orchid blew a few more notes, then lowered her star flutie. Hey, Libby, she said with a friendly tone. Oh my god. Everyone's here to try out for the band. She glanced down at the pink case in Libby's hand. Aren't you? Could there be tryouts for 2 bands? Who's in charge? She asked. Oh, a third-year named Leona, the girl replied. She pointed to the band shell, where Leona stood, her hands on her hips. She was surveying the crowd, looking confused. You know, the one with the cool golden curls? The cool golden hair? I know her, said Libby. What on Starland is going on, she wondered. Leona had apparently decided to invite the whole school to try out. But why? Libby pushed her way through the crowd to the band shell. Hey, Leona, she said. What's happening? Leona spun around. Her hair looked even wilder than usual. What's going on? I wish I knew. Her eyes swept the crowd. Starf! How could all these people find out about my tryouts? I didn't even want the whole school to show up. This is going to take forever. She stopped a girl walking by with the trumpet. How did you hear about this? She asked. The girl looked at Leona like she was crazy. Is this a joke? She asked. From the holo flyer you sent out to the school, of course. Give me a minute. Okay, that's something that hopefully stops the drooling. Okay. The girl lowered her voice and leaned forward conspiratorially. So is it true that whoever joins the band gets class credit and can drop music class? She asked. That's the rumor. Leona narrowed her eyes. I bet you anything Scarlet has something to do with this. This sounds exactly like something she would do to annoy me. I swear to God, those two just can't get along. There was a laugh behind them. Leona and Libby spun around to find Scarlet standing there, grinning. I wouldn't mind taking credit for this madhouse, she said, but it wasn't me. I'm here to try out. She pointed a drumstick at her drum kit, which was sitting on the stage. You think I want all this competition? Leona groaned. Oh my God, it didn't stop it. I'm going to be the most hated girl in Starling Academy when I have to turn most of these girls down, she said, fretting. Libby nodded in sympathy. It would have been awful to hurt the feelings of so many of her fellow students. Leona had a sudden realization. And no one will come to see the band. That would be terrible. This is why you can't have girls with the same letter name. Because you have Clover and Cassie, and then you have freaking Sage and Scarlet, and then you have Leona and Libby. Why? I'm kidding, I know why. But, Libby pulled her Stars app out of her pocket and quickly checked her messages. Oddly enough, she had not received Leona's holoflyer. A quick poll revealed that neither had Vega, Scarlet, or any of the other Star Darlings. Leona grabbed the arm of a girl who stood nearby, a guitar slung around her neck. Hey, can you show me the holoflyer? She asked. The girl nodded, pulled her Stars app from her pocket, and projected the message in the air Leona could read. Leona read it out loud. Calling all rockers. Have you always wanted to play in a band? Desperately seeking vocalists, drummers, guitarists, melodian players, bass players, keyboard players, and more. Meet at the band shell in the Star Quad after school today. Contact Leona for more details. That's so bizarre. I totally hate melodians. I so clearly didn't send that, she said, shaking her head. But who did? The crowd began to shift. Someone was trying to push through. Excuse me, pardon me, said a loud adult voice. The crowd parted as a teacher made her way to the bandstand. She was of average height with a round, pretty face. Oh my God. Long silver hair parted in the middle and a sweeping red dress with huge pockets. She was a fourth-year professor, and until then, Libby had only seen her from a distance. Well, of course, because none of the Star Darlings have her, because they're all from first year to third year. Oh my God, my hair. Anyway. Leona, she said. Professor Letitia Langtree here. You're just the person I've been looking for. Once an invitation for any type of tryout on school property goes out to the entire school. Starling Academy rules require that it must be overseen by a school official. It's in the student manual, she said. She added seriously. So I'm here to make sure everything goes smoothly and fairly. She fished around in her pocket and pulled out a small silver box. That's why we always use the ranker in situations like this. You may have seen it used before in public speaking class. It's only truly fair way to be able to pick a winner without showing favoritism. Leona stared at the ranker. Things were not going the way she had planned, and Libby could see how frustrated that was making her. When I find out who sent out that holoflyer, I'm going to go supernova on them, she said through gritted teeth. Not funny at all. Professor Letitia Langtree ignored her comment. So if we're all settled, I'm going to make an announcement explaining how we're going to proceed. And then we'll start tryouts so we can get out of here before breakfast tomorrow, she told Leona. Fine, sputtered Leona. She looked both furious and confused, but it was perfectly clear that she really had no choice. The teacher stepped onto the bandshell stage. Hello, I am Professor Letitia Langtree, and I will be overseeing the band tryouts today. I will be recording you with this machine called a ranker. For those of you not familiar with it, it will ensure that choosing the band is done in a fair way, showing no favoritism to any student. This machine will be able to evaluate each performance and assemble the perfect group of musicians. The group will sound the group that will sound the best together. The ranker is unbiased and incorruptible. Please remember that I will have nothing to do with the choosing. It is entirely up to the ranker. She held up the machine and moved it back and forth, scanning the crowd. She looked down at the machine and smiled. The ranker now has everyone's names and years in its database, and is randomly shuffling them. I will call you to the stage to try out in the order the ranker determines. You will each have 2 starmans to perform. The ranker will indicate your time is up. You must stop performing immediately. Leona, fuck. Okay, we're gonna try this. Leona's shoulders sagged. Though she had accepted the unexpected turn of events, that didn't mean she was happy about it. She turned to Libby with a sigh. This was supposed to be a Star Darlings band, she said. A way for us to have fun and spend time together. I don't want to be the lead singer of a band where I don't know anyone. She thought for a moment. I guess this is the best thing to do now that everyone got so messed up. Wait, what? I guess this is the best thing to do now that everything got... Oh, that everything, not everyone. That everything got so messed up. She shook her head. But who could have sent that flyer? And why? The teacher stepped down from the stage and settled herself on a bench. The ranker sat beside her. Leona, Libby, and Sage sat on the nearby bench to watch. Vivica. Oh, no. She called. A girl with pale blue bangs walked on stage. Sage groaned. Vivica is the meanest girl in school, she whispered to Libby. Libby recognized the girl from her astral accounting class. Libby always thought that the permanently sour expression on Vivica's face made her look as if she had just bitten into a bitterball fruit. Oh my god. Sorry. Libby watched her with interest. She had no instrument. Then Vivica opened her mouth and started to sing. Leona immediately sprang to her feet. Hold it right there, she said, cutting her off. The girl stopped singing, the look on her face more disagreeable than ever. Sorry, said Leona, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. We already have a lead singer. There won't be any singing tryouts today. The girl stared venomously at Leona. Oh, yeah? She said, placing her hands on her hips. Then why does it say vocalist on the holo flyer? She insisted. Oh my god. Oh, I thought that was gonna stop. But it didn't. It just got worse. Oh. Okay. 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 Leona laughed and shook her head. I didn't send that holo flyer, she answered, drawing out the words as if Vivica was a small child. We don't need a lead singer. End of story. This served to enrage the girl with pale blue bangs further. Well, I'm not leaving until I get a chance to try out, she screeched. Next, Leona shouted, her face red. The 2 girls stared angrily at each other at an impasse. Meanwhile, Professor Letitia Langtree was busily searching through the student manual. She flipped through pages in the air. Finally, she found what she was looking for and stood up. Leona, it says right here in the student manual, she said, stabbing the air for emphasis, that if the tryouts are held on school grounds, every student has the right to audition for every position. That means that every position is up for grabs. The ranker will decide who is the lead singer of this band. You simply can't choose yourself. Leona looked stunned. Wait a Starzak! Are you telling me I have to try out for my own band? She said incredulously. Ugh. The teacher shrugged. I am, she said. She smiled at Leona. Good luck. That came out so mean. I don't know why. Oh my god, my foot fell asleep again. Okay, anyway. Leona's mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. It looked as though when she regained her power of speech, there was a very good chance she could say something she might regret. Libby grabbed Leona's hand and pulled her down to sit on the bench. Don't worry, Libby told her. You'll win this one fair and square. She only hoped she was right. Sorry. Vivica smirked at Leona, then began to sing. Libby was grudgingly impressed. The girl's voice was clear and strong. Leona tried to be nonchalant, but Libby noticed that she sat on her hands, quite possible so she wouldn't start biting her nails from sheer nervousness. After two starmen, the ranker let out a beep, signaling that her time was up. The tryouts began earnest. Another singer, not as good, and she forgot some words, and a guitar player and a drummer, neither which was particularly outstanding. "Leona," called the teacher. Libby glanced at Leona, certain she would be too worked up to perform, but she had underestimated Leona's showmanship. The girl stood, smothered her golden skirt, and made her way to the stage. She really had a great voice, though Libby recognized that her range was limited. She more than made up for that with her sheer enthusiasm. The crowd began to clap along, which Leona clearly loved. She had such presence on the stage that it was almost impossible to look away. When she was done, a couple of girls in the audience gave loud whistles of approval. Libby noted with a chuckle that Leona was the only performer who took a bow, a deep one, when she was finished. Leona walked back to the bench, a grin on her face. "And that's how it's done," she said cockily, still keyed up from her, brief performance. She looked around. "Well, I guess I'll just go," she said. "Clearly I'm not needed at my own tryouts." "Arista," Professor Lucretia Langtree called out. A girl staggered onto the stage, carrying a huge tuba. She could barely stand upright. "Oh," said Leona, clearly intrigued. "Well, maybe just one more." She plopped down next to Libby on the bench, and there she sat the rest of the afternoon. As their names were called, one by one, each girl got up on the bandshell stage and played her instrument or sang. Some were full of confidence, but not quite so full of talent. Some were shy but good, and a couple were pretty bad. Truth be told, finally it was Libby's turn. She slung her guitar over her shoulder and walked to the middle of the stage. She had been intending to play a current popular song when she had a sudden flash of inspiration. She laughed out loud at her idea, flipping the guitar switch to make her instrument sound like an old-timey organ. She began to play a simple but snappy jingle that had played on hollow billboards everywhere when she was a kid. "If you like to smile and really hate to frown, then get yourself a sparkle brush. It's the best toothlight in town," she sang, then launched into the chorus. "Oh, sparkle brush, how I love you so. You leave my teeth so clean and white with that special sparkle glow." Libby, sorry, I would sing. I don't want to. Yeah, you see, I can sing. Because this is a choir shirt. But I don't want to. And I also don't know the tune to this jingle. So, yeah. Libby grinned as everyone instantly laughed with recognition and started singing along. The audience cheered as Libby left the stage. Leona stood up and punched her in the arm excitedly. "Hey, that was pretty cool," she said. "A blast from the past." "Scarlet," called the teacher. Scarlet made her way to the bandshell and pushed her drum kit to the middle of the stage. She sat down, twirled her drumsticks in the air, and started playing. Even Leona had to admit, begrudgingly, that the starling had talent. A lot of it, actually. Then there were some novelty acts. A first year held up a triangle and hit it. Ding, ding-a-ding, ding, over and over again until her 2 starmans was up. A third year stepped onto the bandshell stage, supporting a huge silver instrument that snaked around her body and had 3 large horns sprouting from it. "Is that a glugelhorn?" Leona asked Libby incredulously. "I do believe it is," said Libby. The girl began to play the instrument proudly. Its deep bass blare was actually pretty impressive, but Libby was doubtful that there was any way to incorporate that sound into a cohesive rock band. Sorry. Another girl was the proud owner of an ancient timpani pipe, which some of the girls had never heard of before. The last person Libby had heard expressing admiration for the instrument was her dear departed great-grandmother. Its scratchy, whistly sound made everyone realize why the instrument had fallen out of favor. It was haunting, and not in a good way. Oh my god. Then a couple of star darlings tried out in a row. Sage played the guitar very well. Vega played the bass, and she was quite good too. Gemma got up and shook her star shakers enthusiastically. Libby caught Leona wincing, though she tried to pass it off as having something in her eye. Libby wasn't fooled. "Well, that's it," said Professor Letitia Langtree. She stood, turned off the rancor, and slipped it out into her voluminous pocket. "So I'll take this back and determine the results. I'll post them on the Holo announcement board by Halo Hall as soon as I can." Leona slumped on the bench. "I'm exhausted," she said. She pointed to the Celestial Cafe, where a large star above the door flashed, indicating that it was dinner time. "Let's go eat." "Okay," said Libby. Why did that come out in Scarlett's voice? Blech. Hold on. "Okay," said Libby. She and Leona walked over to the moving sidewalk. They stepped on and stood in silence for a moment. "I'm still wondering who sent that holo flyer out with my name on it," she mused Leona. "I'm still not fully convinced it wasn't Scarlett." "It wasn't me, I told you," someone behind them said wearily. Leona jumped. "Why are you always lurking behind me?" she complained. "It's kind of creepy, you know." Gemma ran up to join them. "That was so much fun. I hope I make it," she said, rattling her star shakers for emphasis. "It would be so awesome." Wait. Wrong voice. "That was so much fun. I hope I make it," she said, rattling her star shakers for emphasis. "It would be so awesome to be in a band." She spotted Tessa on the moving sidewalk ahead and waved wildly. "Tessa, wait up!" she called as she took off after her. Anyway, Leona leaned over and whispered in Libby's ear. "I obviously have no idea who's going to make it or not," she said, "or even if I will. But I think it's pretty clear that Gemma is out of the running. There are so many better musicians." She looked up at Libby and shrugged. "Sorry for the bad news." "Good," Libby heard herself say. Leona's mouth fell open. "Good?" she repeated. "You're happy about that? I don't get it. I thought you guys were great friends." "Oh my god." Libby bit her lip. "I don't get it either," she said. "I'll see you later." She stepped off the sidewalk and headed toward her dormitory on foot. She had lost her appetite. Why in the world was she pleased that her roommate most likely hadn't made the cut? What on Starland was wrong with her? Starland. Anyway, that was chapter 4. Next video will be chapter 5. Give me my bookmark, please. And yeah, I'll see you guys later once I actually tame this.